everybody, it's me, Poppy Static, and today we're doing something a weeny bit different because I like to make whatever pops into my head. I watched a movie called Broadcast Signal Intrusion, and it was just a Blu-ray I randomly picked up in the store because it was on offer, and it looked really weird. It had found footage, creepy analog horror vibes, and I was like, okay, let's go. And I didn't realize I was about to be taken on a really weird journey, which I'm now going to share with you guys. Obviously, if you're here looking for theories and ideas about what the ending meant, as it is quite ambiguous, I will be discussing it in this video. So if you haven't seen Broadcast Signal Intrusion and you want to, go ahead and watch it first. I will be including small clips of the movie in this and screen caps. And obviously there's going to be spoilers ahead, so just go and check it out yourself first. Okay, so let's run down the basic plot of what happens in Broadcast Signal Intrusion and how it ends up being so confusing. Broadcast Signal Intrusion follows the plot of a man called James who works archiving video footage, and it's set in the 90s. His girlfriend went missing 3 years ago and he hasn't really recovered. He's going to like support groups. I think it's his wife because he has a wedding ring. And he's going to support groups to recover. Apparently this town has a big missing person issue because there's loads of married people there who have lost their significant others due to them disappearing or walking out. And he discovers something very unusual while he is archiving footage, a broadcast signal intrusion. And it all seems to be very garbled, messy, and very, very, very creepy. He goes ahead and investigates this tape, and it leads him down a rabbit hole where his sanity really sort of falls into disrepair and not existence. There's a lot of imagery of tapes unraveling, and that sort of links back into how his brain is unraveling altogether. So after investigating these tapes with a strange woman who basically comes out of nowhere and starts following him, he actually goes to the furthest length possible and commits murder. At that point, you can basically tell that he is completely unraveled because he starts seeing things that are technically impossible. And that's how we get our ambiguous ending, where he hits a woman with his car, but it's not a woman. It's actually the same creepy robot that was in the Broadcast Signal Intrusions. Fuck! Now, what does that mean? Where is it going? I have several ideas, but I'm going to get into them right now. My first theory is that James actually killed his wife, Hannah. And this whole time, it's him living in grief and shame. And we're seeing a lot of reflections in this, in his actions and in the broadcast signal intrusions themselves. And there's a lot of key things that are very pointing in that direction. The main one is that Hannah and Alice, the random lady who joins him on his quest, are actually played by the exact same actress. That's right, they're not two separate people, it's one person. They're not even credited. Hannah isn't credited in the end credits, it's just Alice. I think that Alice is a manifestation of James's guilt and this longing that he has to bring his wife back after he brutally murdered her. Alice talks about how she was with someone who was physically abusive, mentally abusive, and also part of some underage activities, mentioning that he was involved with 14-year-olds.
The girls they found in his room were 14.
Now, this sort of springs back slightly later on to something weird we see when James heads down to the detective's office. I don't think he's a detective, actually. I think he's like a I don't know. He does some shady, illegal things, but he investigates stuff and finds information for people. There's a man he walks past down there who is asking for information on underage girls. Specifically, I think he says that she's 16.
How old is she?
She's 16.
And she'll be inside the house?
No.
Now, obviously, this is set in the US, and the statutory age in the US varies, but I'm going to put that in the underage category and say this is all a bit weird. It's weird that it's mentioned twice, and James is always there when it's mentioned. Something else that supports this theory as we're going forward is actually right at the beginning, where James has nightmares of these intrusions before he even experiences them in the timeline of events. He sees the creepy dolls, creepy mannequins, whatever we want to call them. He sees them long before we've even got to the intrusions themselves. And he continues to experience these dreams the entire way through the movie. Now, all of this calls back to me, and if you're not a fan of video games, I'm sorry, you can skip over this bit, but it is a very valid comparison. All of this brings me back to Silent Hill 2. Now, anyone who's ever played Silent Hill 2 will know there's some similarities here. We have James, the protagonist, yes, in both Silent Hill 2 and Broadcast Signal Intrusion, the protagonist is called James. Both have lost their wives. Both are desperately looking for their wives who have gone, quote marks, missing. And to further that, in Silent Hill 2, James has Mary and Maria. The same person. One is a manifestation of his guilt and his sexual desire. And I'm going to say exactly the same thing here for James in Broadcast Signal Intrusion, because we have Hannah and Alice. They are manifestations of ideas instead of actual people. So James believes after he commits murder that everything is basically in the clear. He's murdered the person who he can blame for this broadcast signal intrusions and his wife being missing. Despite the fact I think deep down he knows where his wife is and he knows he did this. But this is signified by the phone ringing as he leaves the murder scene. He goes to get in his car, the phone rings in the house. He knows it's for him, but he doesn't answer it because he's hoping he can escape what he's done. Now, this is very obviously something that he can't escape, because as he's in his car driving back, you get sounds of the broadcast signal intrusions over the radio, followed by hallucinations of the woman from the videos. Now, actually, I skipped over something very important here, and I'm going to put it up on screen right next to me. If you look in James's car boot after he has committed murder, you can see the mannequin. You can see the doll from the videos in the trunk of his car, which isn't something that was ever in the possession of Michael at any point. So where did it come from? Where did he get it from? He went to this barn as if he had no clue where he was going, and he picked up a crusty old mask off the floor. But the mannequin he has in his car is in perfect condition. It's brand new. He's definitely had this for a while. And again, back to Silent Hill 2. It's a theory that James's wife has been in his car the whole time. And here we are with James with the creepy mannequin that represents his wife in his car the whole time. And he's been dragging her around. I think the parallels here are crazy, and it absolutely makes it up in my mind that James killed his wife. And that's why at the end he sees this melting mannequin and he goes into a state of shock where he's shaking and visibly disturbed by this, because he can't escape the guilt. He's overwhelmed, and that's how the movie ends. And I personally think it's a loop. I think it would be a cycle, and I think he would do it again with different things. Now, theory 2 is a lot less clear cut. My theory 2 is that it is conspiracy versus coincidence, which is actually something that is said in the movie. Don't get conspiracy confused with coincidence.
Never attribute conspiracy to that which is more appropriately labeled coincidence.
Look, I am telling you, they're connected.
And this whole time, James is putting 2 and 2 together and getting 5. He's seeing that these broadcast intrusions line up with the events of the missing women. He's talking to people online about it. He's making these connections in his head. But the truth is, what if the connections aren't really there? What if, in fact, he's just looking desperately for a reason that his wife disappeared, and there isn't a reason. She just did. People go missing every day, hundreds of people, and hundreds of people are never found. And as horrible as that is, I think maybe that might be the case here with James. He's seeing meaning where there is no meaning. Later in the movie, they speak to a guy, I can't remember his name, but he explains that it was all basically teenagers proving that they could hijack the waves. It was him as a bit of popularity to get in with the rich kids and talk to girls, you know. It was a little bit fun. And he refuses to accept that the whole time. I feel like that is I don't know. That explanation is right there, and he refuses to take it. Now, none of this actually explains why he has the mannequin in the back of his boot and why he still continues to hallucinate the whole time. So, I'm still more convinced with theory 1, but I mean, hey, I think it's one of those movies where everyone has their own interpretation of events. That's just my interpretation. Have you seen this movie? Do you think you would see this movie? I don't know. If you've seen this movie and you have any ideas or theories about what you think happened, or if you agree with my theory on what you think happened, let me know in the comments below. And yeah, this was my first episode of What Did I Just Watch? I might make more. It depends if I see any more crazy, weird movies. Also, if you have any recommendations for crazy, weird movies, please give me some. I love horror. Any horror I'll watch. I'm not afraid of gore. I'm not afraid of anything really besides cows. And yeah, please check out my other videos. I review horror books and play video games. And yeah, have a good one, everyone. Thank you for watching. Bye bye.